Yeah, Minister, the reason I'm here today is to, first of all, obviously welcome a really progressive and ambitious project that we're embarking on, which is the Youth Travel Scheme. And for those of you who don't realise, what the Youth Travel Card is doing is that it's providing 50% free costs of travel to those aged between the age of 17 to 23. But the reason I'm standing in the Senate today and raising this as a commencement debate follows on from a really important meeting I had yesterday with Paddy Matthews, who is the founder and managing director of Matthews Buses, which operates buses from Dundalk, Drogheda and Bettystown. And if I have to declare an interest, I suppose in one sense, it's that I was a commuter with Matthews Buses for 7-8 years to this house when I worked here as a member of staff. And it is a wonderful service that provides so much for people in my community. And it was a service that was started 20 years ago when there wasn't direct services between Dundalk and Dublin or Drogheda and Dublin. So it provides a valuable resource for the people of my county. However, the problem here today, Minister, is that the 50% levy is not scheduled to take place on the 9th of May alongside all other public service operators. It's not been included for commercial bus operators. It will be included at a later date, and that has been confirmed in the past 24 hours by Minister Ryan, we know that. But what I'm coming today, and what I'm coming to you, Minister, and coming to government about, is that we need to bring clarity as soon as possible to those who are in the private bus sector and operating private buses, to be able to say to them that the 50% will be available for you come a certain date. Because if you just look at the figures, I just Googled it there before I came in here. At the minute, a return ticket on Matthews Bus from Dundalk to Dublin works out about €17. A return ticket on Bus Éireann works out at about €11. So if you were to take the 50% off for Bus Éireann, which will come in on the 9th, 50% of 11 is €5.50. So why on earth would I get a bus for €17 return when I can take one at €5.50 on Bus Éireann? Granted, the Bus Éireann 100X bus, it provides a service, so it takes longer to get to Dublin because it goes via other villages and goes via Dublin Airport. But that's a huge price discrepancy, even when the 50% is introduced for private buses as well. At €17, 50% of that is €8.50, so it's still cheaper. But the problem is what we're introducing now is a massive discrepancy between public and private. We are coming out of a pandemic of the last 2.5 years where bus numbers are massively down. Before this pandemic, Matthews Buses would have operated at about 7,000 people a day. They're operating at 51 to 56% of that today. Now, for them to be able to get any sort of profit or run a manageable service, they need to get back to about 70% pre-pandemic levels. They accept they'll never get back to the 100% because of remote working, because of the way things are, but they need to get back to a certain sustainable level. But at the minute I feel, and I'm not saying this, we're doing this as a government, this is just a grey area that has come along, that we are completely undercutting people who are involved with private bus sectors around the country as a result of this. Because absolute competition is key. We need to provide competition in an open market to provide the best outcome for consumers. But this isn't open competition. This is not open competition. It's a direct. It's providing a massive financial advantage to private sector bus operators compared to the private sector. And what I'm looking for from government today, Minister, is clarity that the government absolutely will introduce the 50% and to provide a timeline as to when that 50% will come in, because I think that clarity and that certainty will be very, very important for those who are involved in the private operators bus sector.
Senator McGahon. Minister, you have 4 minutes to respond.
Thank you very much, Cahirlock, and I'd like to thank Senator John McGahon for your question, and I welcome the opportunity to discuss this important topic today. And just to say that I'm answering this question on behalf of Minister Eamon Ryan, so I will be going back to Minister Ryan in relation to the comments that you've raised here as well today. I understand that your question is in relation to the inclusion of the commercial bus sector in the Young Adult Card initiative, and from the outset I just would like to reassure you, Senator McGahon, that it has always been Minister Ryan's intention to include commercial bus operators as part of this exciting fares initiative. And I want to be very clear that licensed bus and coach operators are an integral part of the overall public transport system, particularly in areas around the country which are not covered by existing public service bus and rail services. In recognition of the important role that these operators play, the government has continued to provide temporary financial supports throughout the COVID-19 pandemic for certain licensed commercial services, with a view to protecting capacity across the public transport sector right throughout the crisis. In acknowledgement of the continuing difficulties facing this sector, I'm pleased to inform the Senator that Minister Ryan previously approved an extension of the supports up to the 30th of June 2022, and to date over €60 million has been provided to support the commercial bus operators during this challenging time. In relation to Senator McGahon's specific question regarding the youth adult card, recognising the importance of incentivising more young people to use public transport as part of Budget 2022, Minister Ryan was delighted to secure €25 million of funding for the scheme's introduction. So this exciting initiative will allow any person nationwide who is between the age of 19 and 23 to avail of an entitlement for discounted travel costs, and to increase the level of discount over and above the current student discount to an average discount of 50% across all services, including city, intercity and rural services. Mature students in full-time education will also be included in the scheme, as will eligible visitors to Ireland within the young adult age cohort. The discount will initially be made available on all subsidised PSO bus, rail and Luas services, and I expect to launch the young adult card on PSO services next month. It will then be broadened to include commercial operators at a later date, with an expectation to launch before the end of the year. It's clear that the young adult card will be of great benefit to this cohort of users and will not only promote modal shift in the transport sector, but it should also contribute towards a reduced reliance on private transport, with the associated benefit of transport emissions savings. The NTA has commenced work in relation to the implementation of the new fares structure for young adults and its deployment. I must stress that it is technically more challenging to roll out the young adult card on the commercial bus network than it is on the LEAP-enabled PSO network, and as such it will take longer to make the fare discount available to commercial bus operators. The NTA is in detailed discussions with transport operators and my department also regarding the range of issues that need to be addressed. To assist with this process, the NTA has established a working group to consider options and to develop a plan to implement the young adult card on commercial bus operators in as timely a manner as possible, taking into account current ticketing capabilities to ensure a viable scheme is implemented. The working group includes 3 representatives from the Coach, Tourism and Transport Council of Ireland, 2 further representatives from the commercial sector and a representative from the Department of Transport. The industry experience on this working group will likely expedite the process of deploying the youth adult card to the wider commercial bus sector, but I will relay your comments here today, Senator, to Minister Ryan also.
Thank you very much, Minister Naughton. And now, Senator McGahon, you have 1 minute to reply.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that clarity, Minister, because when we look at it, the CBO sector is absolutely central to providing an effective and an inclusive public transport system. We need to have private operators, naturally, along with the public sector as well. But at the minute, when you look at it, the commuters from my town who get the Matthews bus to Dublin will be discriminated against for the duration of time between the 9th of May and whenever the government decide to introduce the 50% for people who are getting private transport. So what I would really, and this is the crux of the issue that I want to get to, I accept that the government are going to do this, and I'm very appreciative of that. But what I'm looking for is clarity from government, and I appreciate you'll go back to Minister Ryan about it, but clarity as soon as possible, so that certainty can be given to private bus operators to say the 50% will be included with you by X amount of date. Because the longer that goes on, more passengers are going to stop taking private buses. They're obviously going to go with the cheaper option, which is the public thing. And it's about making sure that there's a fair playing field right across the board for not only commuters, but those in both public and private bus operating sectors also.
McGahon. Minister, you have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you, Senator. And I will relay, I hear the sense of urgency around, I suppose, getting this over the line. And just to reassure you that both the NTA and the Department of Transport have been engaging directly with commercial bus operators to help, I suppose, inform policy decisions in relation to the transport sector. And just in relation to that working group that I referenced earlier, the Department of Transport has been liaising with the Coach Tourism and Transport Council of Ireland, the CTTC, since May 2020, and to date 22 meetings have taken place, and a further meeting is scheduled to take place later this month. More recently, on the 25th of March, Minister Ryan met with the CTTC to discuss their concerns regarding the sector, and as outlined earlier, it is his intention to include commercial operators as part of the Youth Adult Card Initiative, and the NTA is working closely with operators in order to achieve this as quickly as possible. But I will certainly, Senator, relay your concerns that you highlighted here today to Minister Ryan. Thank you.